Tam Talks explores life, spirituality, and general weirdness through quirky storytelling and laughter, lighting you up in your life journey. Let's go! All right, let's talk about oracle cards. Some of you may know what tarot cards are. Some of you may know what oracle cards are. If you do not know, I'm going to tell you. So tarot cards are, I would say, like a league of their own. And oracle cards are this beautiful little spin-off. And I often tell people they're like a lighter version of tarot. I love tarot. Tarot is more of a deep skill, I would say, and a blend of intuition to read and to know. However, oracle cards are, I feel, they are way more intuitive and way more open to understanding. So they're just a different vibe. And there are all types of oracle cards. You can get like angel oracle cards, you can get goddess ones, you can get like chakra ones, you can get animal spirit guide ones. There are so many different oracle cards. And the purpose of oracle cards, I feel like I'm saying that phrase a lot, those two words. The purpose is, it's a tool. It's another tool in your spiritual and personal growth tool belt. And I use them often. I would say the most that I use them would be for guidance and confirmation. On the full moon, and especially like the beginning of every year when I map out my intentions for the year and all of that, the process is, there's always oracle cards in all of those instances. And I find that, so oracle cards, I'm going to give you like a 101 on them. So I usually choose decks that intuitively, that just pull to me. Even if I purchase them online, I'll look at the description, I'll look through kind of sample cards, how many there are, and I just feel it out. And I just feel if I'm pulled to those cards or not. Sometimes I've had people gift me decks and I'm like, oh, amazing. Other times I've regifted those. Like they don't sit with me, and that's totally cool. So oracle cards, always when you get them, I know a lot of people don't do this, but I do this because I find it very interesting. I read the guidebook. So the first part of, there's usually a guidebook that comes with an oracle deck. Some decks have 44 cards, others have like anywhere up tons, like they could have 70 some odd, whatever. So I always, there's the cards, the individual cards, and then there's the guidebook. So I always read the front of the guidebook, which gives you a little bit of history about the creator of the deck, the purpose of the deck. There's usually suggestions for a spread. So if you want, and it'll give you, if a decision-making spread, or the Celtic Cross spread, or whatever spread. So that a spread is just a placement, a layout for cards. And what I do is I go through and I read that first part. I don't go and read all the descriptions for every card. No, thank you. But I read the first part, like I said, about the creator, suggested, whatever, all of that, history of that deck. And then I do go through the deck, and Denise, a friend of mine, she's amazing. She is the one who taught me this. She said, you always go through and hold and look at every single card of that deck. And you go through it like one by one through the whole deck and take a moment with each card and just feel into it and, just get used to it. You're basically acquainting yourself with the energy of the deck. You're also infusing your energy in it. So shuffling, I shuffle like a deck of cards because I have huge man hands. Some people like to lay them out in front like a big messy pile and swish them around and kind of use their hands to feel like a magnetic pull as they are drifting over top, like gently floating over top of the cards, and then pulling from there. I really like the shuffle and see which cards fling out. The other way, you can do like 3 card piles. You can divide it into 3 piles and then take the top card. You can hold it and feel top or bottom and then take the top card or bottom card, and that's your card. You can choose. There are many ways to do this. I personally love shuffling, and what you do when you shuffle is you either set the intention of just a general, what do I need to know right now for my greatest and highest good, or you can ask a question. You're going to want to avoid yes or no questions, because unless you have a deck that is specifically prepared for that. I do have one deck, a Rebecca Campbell deck, that there are yes and no cards, and there's a wait card. But I still don't ask a yes and no question. I ask questions, so it'll be open-ended. Like, what do I need to know about so and so? Or what would be my next best step for blank? So kind of keep them that style. And so when you're shuffling, you're thinking about that intention. A lot of times, like most times, I'm just doing what do I need to know for my greatest and highest good. When I do a full moon pull, I just did one today actually. Last night was a full moon. I usually do it on the full moon, but I was at a really long event last night, so I did it today. And I set the intention of what do I need to know for this next moon cycle. So basically the next month ahead. So I shuffle and I pulled 3 decks. And the thing is, once you get a few decks, some days you will feel really pulled to one specific deck. Other days, like I find myself, sometimes I'll be, on one specific deck for a couple of weeks and I just feel really drawn to that one and to those pulls. Other times it's different. When I do the full moon, I try to grab 2 or 3 decks just to have different cards. And it's interesting how themes come through completely different decks. For like a certain, so say for a full moon, some of the themes are the same and from different decks. So it's flippin' magical. Anyways, and so I shuffle and ask, and then before you start, so especially when you get a new deck, I like to do somewhat of a cleansing. So if you want, you can sage it, you can Reiki it if you're a practitioner, like you can clear it with your symbol. But another cool way, and I just store mine like this, I put a piece of selenite or clear quartz on top of the stacks of decks. So I know that all of the decks underneath that pile are all clear. So you can do whatever you feel. And then always, before you're going to pull, and always ask people, especially if you're in like a group setting, some people don't like others touching their decks. I'm wide open. I'm like, yeah, you want to use it, just don't steal them, okay? Or like, don't steal a random card from them, because that's weird. But whenever you're going to use a deck, if you have permission from the person, just a courtesy, give it a knock 3 times on top of all those cards, just to knock out any previous energy and to get yours, it's clear. And then as you shuffle, your energy is infusing, your intention is infusing, and you will get a more accurate card pull. So as you shuffle, you may find, and also be open if you're doing a 4-card spread, if you're thinking, oh, that sounds perfect, that's going to answer my whatever question, be open. If you have 5 cards that come out, don't put that 5th card back in. Just keep that 5th card out. It's the bonus card. Maybe just roll with it. I always believe that you are meant, everything that happens like that is meant to happen. Just stay open. Don't try to control anything. Just let go, surrender to whatever message is coming through. So you give your knock, your 3 knocks, shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And don't worry if it takes a couple of minutes. And if for some reason you're not getting a card that's jumping out, then maybe you switch over to one of the other methods for pulling a card. Maybe you spread them out in front of you, or perhaps you put them in the piles. So once you have your cards, here's another thing. There can be, much like tarot, there can be an upright and a reversed meaning. Generally, the reversed is more of like the what do I need to do to improve, or more like the shadow side. However, I don't, especially like I do my Freaky Fridays on Instagram for people. I do put it up and it's like a card thing and it's really fun. Check it out if you want, if I'm still doing it by the time you're listening to this podcast. But I usually go with the upright meaning, and I don't actually pay attention to how the cards come out. Some oracle decks don't even differentiate. They don't even have a reversed option. It's just they have a meaning for the card. That's it. However, if you read that meaning and it's not resonating, then read if there's an alternate, that reversed meaning, give that a check and maybe that hits as well. Like I said, it's not always dark or something to work on, but a lot of times it is. So just be open. Just be open to whatever messages. And it's funny because I've had a couple times where I'm like, no, that message doesn't, like, that doesn't make any, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't land, whatever. So I'll put it back in, denying it, right? And I'm like, no. And I'll shuffle. And we're talking like these are thick decks. And I'll shuffle and I'll keep getting that same card. And I'm like, okay, fine. Let me just really examine what's going on right now and see if this somehow applies, because clearly it's what's coming out. So yeah, that's kind of like an overview of oracle cards. Yeah, like I said, I always kind of keep them, when you store them, we put them all away. I keep that selenite or clear quartz on top of them just to keep them purified. And I encourage people to use them and just find one that resonates with you. They're really fun, like I said, and a lot of times it's just confirmation, because we do know the answers. We always have the answers inside of us, but we question it. So maybe using the oracle cards will save you a step, a questioning step, where you can just be like, okay, I feel like it's this, but I just need confirmation. And that's what those cards do for you. So they're also good if you are trying to figure out like people, if you're thinking about working with someone, like collaborating, or you're thinking of dating someone, or if you're thinking of calling it off with people, like any of these reasons, if you can use these cards as your partner in crime. These are such a fantastic tool. So anyways, okay, I could go on and on for hours about oracle cards. I just think they're so fun. Explore, have fun, and let me know if you pick up a deck. And yeah, okay, peace out. Thanks for hanging out and listening to my wild and wacky Tam Talks. Follow Tam Talks to be notified of new episodes. Peace out.